the Amazon rainforest. For more than 50 million years, it's been a cradle of life.
This is what pristine rainforest looks like. Lush, untamed, bursting with wildlife. But maybe not for long, because the soil underneath is laced with gold. And the human desire for it can turn all of this into a toxic wasteland like this.
This is La Pampa, in the buffer zone of the Tambopata National Reserve. It's part of more than 100,000 acres of rainforest in Peru that have been decimated by an illegal gold rush. To investigate, TechKnow traveled deep into Peru, to a region called Madre de Dios, the Mother of God. It's one of the most biodiverse areas on the planet, and the source of 70% of the illicit gold produced each year in Peru.
So we're on our flight into the area of Peru where gold mining is taking a stronghold. If you look out the window, you can actually already see signs of the damage.
We arrived at Puerto Maldonado, the region's capital and a gold mining boomtown. An estimated 30,000 illegal miners work in Madre de Dios. Chances are you might find some of them here to sell gold or buy equipment. I stopped into one of the shops to look around.
It's a place called Amazon Gold, and right when you walk in, there's a sign that says Compro Oro, meaning I buy gold. And as I exchanged my money, there was a little scale right in front of me, still had some gold dust on it from past exchanges.
But the sign was removed as soon as our camera was spotted. Puerto Maldonado is also a place in transition. While many of its roads are still dirt paths, the new interoceanic highway has opened up the area to the wider world.
People come from all over the country to work the gold fields here in Madre de Dios.
Luis Fernandez directs the Carnegie Amazon Mercury Ecosystem Project. He's been studying gold mining's toxic legacy in the Amazon since 2000.
So now miners have better access to the remote forest. They can get their equipment there.
That's right.
Everything's easier because of that highway.
Everything's easier. It's essentially part of the perfect storm that is Madre de Dios. So not only do you have a brand new highway that makes transport easier, you have record high gold prices and the pre-existing condition of extreme poverty.
Tell me about this illegal gold mining. What is the process?
We're really on the edge between the Amazon and the Andes. And erosion over millions of years has worn down the rocks of the Andes, which are gold rich. And all that sediment has washed down the rivers.
Next stop, a mining area near La Pampa. But that can be dangerous for an outsider. The only way into this spot is on the back of a motorbike. The going is tough and wet, and makeshift bridges don't always hold up.
These illegal mining operations extend for miles and miles away from the main highway. We've already been on these bikes for about half an hour, and we still got some ways to go.
As we get closer, trees give way to something hard to grasp. Impossible to put into words.
So where we are now should be rainforest. We've got the rain, but the forest is missing. Having done so much work in the areas that have pristine rainforest, it really pains me to see this.
The only way to get a handle on the devastation is to understand how illegal miners get to the gold. They start by clearing the trees.
So the process is one that's very, very primitive. You use high-pressure water hoses and blast it out.
The water dissolves the soil, removing anything in it that's organic.
You concentrate it using sluices, which kind of looks like a slide, where you run a slurry of the sediments over carpets, which captures the tiny flecks of gold that you find in these sediments.
The process can turn primary rainforest into this in a matter of days.
Sabina Valdez is president of a small community of miners who work the Manuani River nearby. Even she was disturbed by the level of destruction other miners had done to this land.
Ya quedaba esta área así desolada. Nosotros queríamos verlo otra vez verde como antes era, ¿no?
But mining does more than strip a forest bare. Miners bring in mercury to extract those tiny flecks of gold.
Mercury has a very unique characteristic of binding with gold, forming an amalgam. For a miner, it's almost like magic.
If there's any question as to whether or not this area was contaminated with mercury, the answer is right here.
The film Amazon Gold documented miners working with mercury at a mine deep in the rainforest.
People are stepping into mercury.
People are stepping into that mix of sediment, mercury, and water, and stomping on it like you would grapes. Because you need all those little pieces of gold to touch the mercury to be able to capture it.
Manuani miner John Valdez works with mercury almost every day.
¿Y el mercurio? ¿Qué piensas del
mercurio? Mercurio es un que se utiliza para hacer agarrar el oro. No hay otra manera, pues no hay. Han hecho muchos experimentos que sin mercurio, pero no llega hasta aquí.
Miners can also be exposed to mercury vapors. That's because once they extract their amalgam, they have to burn off the mercury to get to the gold.
So these miners are touching mercury, they're breathing mercury. What are the health effects?
So the type of mercury that these miners are exposed to is extremely toxic, especially when you breathe it. And starts to affect the liver, kidneys, the digestive system, and starts to affect the central nervous system.
Today, the Manuani miners aren't working because of the rain, but John Valdez showed the equipment he used just 2 days ago to burn mercury off a piece of gold.
Everything we've been seeing, it's for this. This is about 3 grams of gold, which translates into $100, which the average worker here could make in about 3 days.
That's a lot of money in Madre de Dios. The average farm worker makes less than $200 a month. That lure of gold is changing the face of the Amazon, as jungle is replaced by mining camps like this, magnets for crime, underage prostitution, and poverty. Symbols of gold at any cost. Coming up on TechKnow, Marita Davison meets with the scientist whose high-tech plane reveals gold mining the jungle hides.
And suddenly we had a problem to report.
We want to hear what you think about these stories. Join the conversation by following us on Twitter and at aljazeera.com/techknow.